Shalom, it's Rabbi David Barron with my Torah Talk. Before I begin, I'd like to invite everyone that's here in the Los Angeles community, and I know we reach a much broader audience around the country and around the world, but if you're in Los Angeles, I want to invite you on Monday night, the 15th, for a fascinating discussion by an author, How Woke Media is Destroying Democracy. It's a very important question, this whole question of woke media and journalism, the impact on journalists, and I think it's something we need to look at. And so I'll be moderating it. The event is co-sponsored by the Jewish Journal and the American Jewish Committee, as well as Stand With Us and our Temple of the Arts. So we invite you to come. Admission is $25. With the purchase of the book, it's free, and that's $25, or $10 at the door, and all students with valid ID are free. So please join us for that event on Monday night, November 15th. And please circle your calendars for our celebration of Shabbat Hanukkah on Friday night, December the 3rd, at the Four Seasons Hotel. We'll be holding a two-tiered event. The first part is for children and families celebrating Hanukkah. The wonderful Madrigals of Beverly Hills High School are going to be singing Hanukkah songs, and we're going to light this beautiful, artistic, large menorah, the candelabra, the Chanukiah, to celebrate Hanukkah, and we hope you'll join us. Then at 7 p.m. is a dinner by reservation at the hotel, a Shabbat dinner followed by our Shabbat service. So we hope you can join us for part of or all of that special evening. And as you're thinking about Hanukkah and you're thinking about gifts, there's a wonderful book called The Illustrated Torah, which is perfect for families and children. And we have copies available through our office for a donation. So as you're thinking about Hanukkah gifts, think about things which have Jewish character and substance, be they books, kippot, talit, a mezuzah, a new mezuzah, or mezuzah for one of your interior rooms. And I think you'll be observing Hanukkah in the best way by keeping Jewish ritual alive. This week's Torah portion is the portion that tells the story of Jacob, who went out by Eitzeh. Jacob went out, and he went out on a sojourn, a journey. If you remember from the last week's Torah portion, he had deceived his father and received the birthright blessing from his dad for leadership of the Jewish people, the next generation. And he went out filled with anxiety into the wilderness all by himself. And you know, when we think about that, we think about journeys that many of us have taken, journeys of what therapists refer to as individuation, coming into our own sense of identity, our own sense of self. And Jacob had this journey, and he laid his head down one night on a rock, and he had this magnificent dream. And the famous dream was the dream of the ladder with angels ascending and descending. And that kind of represented, in a way, his anxiety and his insecurity and his unsureness of what the future would hold for him. And you know, all of us have faced that most recently with dealing with the impact of the COVID crisis, how our world has changed with things returned to the old normal or a new normal, and it's filled a lot of us with fear and anxiety. And we mustn't let those fears and anxieties rule us. They're a part of our human experience, but they don't have to define us and fully characterize us. And in the Torah reading, we see those angels ascending and descending, and it speaks about, I guess, all of our angels. And we've got, as the Talmud refers to, a good angel on one shoulder urging us to perform mitzvot and good deeds, and an evil angel on the other shoulder telling us, do for yourself, be selfish, be self-directed, only consider what will bring you joy and pleasure, not anyone else. And so we have these conflicting urges within each and every one of us. And the Torah reading describes that with Jacob's journey into individuation. And that magnificent image of the ladder ascending to heaven with angels ascending and descending reminds us of that experience that we all share. And the voice of God comes to comes to Jacob, our patriarch, and it tells him, Jacob, you will all the nations of the earth, all the families of the earth will be blessed because of you and your offspring. And that's really part of the mission of the Jewish people, to be a blessing. And if you think about all of the Nobel Prize winners who were Jewish, and all of the scientists and physicians who brought the world so much healing that have come mizera Yehudim, from the seed of the Jewish people, as a gift to humanity, you realize that that prophecy has been fulfilled. The Jewish people have continued, despite persecution and dispersion, to be a light unto the nations, to bring a blessing where others have seen nothing, a wasteland or a curse. The Jewish people have always attempted to bring a blessing. You know, it's funny when I talk to some people who had minimal Jewish education, maybe a bar mitzvah, and I ask them, well, what do you know about being Jewish? Well, I know Baruch atah Adonai, which are the three words of every blessing that open every blessing. Blessed are you, O God. Well, that doesn't seem like much, but if you focus on the meaning of those words, you've said a mouthful. Baruch comes from the word bracha, blessing. To be a blessing, to be conscious that it's our responsibility to always bring blessing where others might curse. Atah, or you, Adonai, our God. God is the source of our moral behavior. It's God-directed monotheism, one God, commanding us to keep the mitzvot, to make the world a better place for all of us to inhabit. And I say that to you today. Be a blessing, be a source of blessing, follow in the tradition of our patriarch Jacob, who was soon to emerge with a new name, Israel, the one who wrestled. All of us confront struggles in life. How we emerge is what matters. How we deal with a crisis and then emerge from it wiser, stronger, and more committed to being a blessing. I hope you take that message to heart, and I wish every one of you Shabbat Shalom, a Sabbath of peace.